It started with a scream, not one of fear, but the kind that comes from discovering something that was never meant to be seen. On the morning of March 4th, 2008, in a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Cleveland, Ohio, 73-year-old Carol Jensen was making her usual morning walk when she passed an abandoned house that had been boarded up for months. The side door had been ripped open. Curiosity pulled her in. What she found would haunt not just her, but the entire country. Inside the house, lying crumpled at the bottom of the basement stairs, was the mutilated body of a young woman. No clothes, no ID, just a series of crude carvings on her arms and chest, letters, symbols, numbers. Police were called instantly, and by the time the crime scene was processed, it was clear this wasn't a robbery. This was a message. The woman was identified 3 days later as 24-year-old Marissa Hale, a nursing student who had gone missing 2 weeks prior. Her body showed signs of prolonged torture. Fingernails removed, ligature marks around her neck and ankles, and bruises consistent with repeated blunt force trauma. What disturbed investigators most, however, was the precise carving into her chest. Silence. There was no blood trail in the house, indicating she had been killed elsewhere and then placed in the basement post-mortem. The autopsy revealed she had been dead for 24 to 36 hours before being found. Forensics lifted fingerprints from the doorknob and a cigarette butt on the floor. They belonged to a man named Evan Brody, a former maintenance worker with a history of assault and drug abuse. But Evan had been dead for 3 years. Overdose. Case closed. Detectives now faced a ghost. Whoever left Marissa there had planted evidence pointing to a dead man. This wasn't sloppy. This was theatrical, a performance for someone, and someone was watching. 2 weeks later, it happened again, this time in Detroit. A 19-year-old waitress named Valerie Moore was found posed in a fetal position beneath an underpass. Similar carvings, similar message, a cigarette butt, this time with DNA traces of a woman who died in 2011. Another ghost. It became evident that the killer was not just evading capture, but intentionally mocking the system. Each crime scene carefully curated with elements designed to confuse, distract, and enrage. The media dubbed him the forensic phantom. The word silence began appearing spray-painted on alleyways, bus stops, even inside public restrooms. Copycats? Maybe. But none matched the brutality. Then the breakthrough came. A janitor at a community college in Dayton, Ohio, noticed a man sitting in a stall for over an hour. When confronted, the man bolted. He left behind a notebook. Inside were graphic sketches, maps, a list of victims. The name on the inside cover, Adrian Kell, a high IQ recluse with a degree in biochemistry and an obsession with Victorian-era punishments. When police raided his storage unit, they found restraints, scalpels, surgical gloves, and a disturbing amount of animal bones. But Adrian was gone. Some believe he escaped to Mexico. Others think he never existed, that Kell was just another fiction created by the killer. Either way, the murders stopped. No new victims, no new notes, no more clues. But the silence remains, unsettling, tense, like a scream held just behind your teeth. Some say he's waiting for the world to forget before striking again. Others believe he's among us, watching the documentaries, reading the Reddit theories, quietly smiling to himself. Because for some monsters, the killing isn't the goal, it's the legend. And that in itself is the most brutal cut of all.